You pull into your driveway. The automatic garage door opens with a familiar low hum. You drive inside, and the heavy door slides down behind you, sealing you off from the outside world. You walk straight into your kitchen, put your keys on the counter, and look out the window at your perfectly manicured green backyard. It is quiet, it is safe, it is peaceful. This is the suburban dream you were told to strive for. But as you look out at the empty street, a faint, familiar feeling starts to creep in. A quiet, persistent ache of emptiness. You might tell yourself that you are just tired. You might blame the stress of your job or the endless scroll of social media or some personal flaw inside of you. But what if the reason you feel so isolated is not a personal failure at all? What if your loneliness was actually planned? What if the very neighborhood you bought into was physically designed to keep you apart from other human beings? To understand why so many of us feel this way, we have to look at how we got here. For nearly 200,000 years, human beings lived, worked, and survived in communities that were built entirely at a human scale. Our ancestors did not live in isolated pods. They lived in villages where every dimension of social, emotional, and physical life happened on foot. Your survival depended on the people you saw every single day. The market, the plaza, the shared well. These were not random design choices. They were the physical expression of what our nervous system actually needs to feel safe and connected. But in the decades following World War II, we decided to perform a massive, unprecedented experiment on human biology. We built the suburbs. We took the traditional human habitat and completely dismantled it. We separated where we live from where we shop, where we work, and where we play. We built giant, sprawling oceans of single-family homes, and we made a steel machine costing $30,000 the mandatory filter for all human interaction. Today, your suburban neighborhood has no corner store within walking distance. It has no central plaza where people naturally gather, and no streets designed for human beings moving at the gentle pace of conversation. If you want to do anything, if you want to buy a coffee, go to the gym, pick up your kids, or get groceries, you have to get into a car. Every basic function of your day requires you to be sealed inside a metal box, and this design has a devastating consequence. It completely eliminates what sociologists call spontaneous interaction. In a walkable town, you naturally run into people. You wave to the shopkeeper, you nod to a neighbor on the sidewalk. You have a brief, unplanned chat with a stranger while waiting for a pedestrian light. These micro-interactions seem insignificant, but they are the social glue of our species. They signal to our ancient brains that we are part of a tribe, that we are safe, and that we belong. In the suburbs, this casual contact is virtually impossible. The garage door opens, you get in the car, and the garage door closes. You drive down roads designed for vehicles moving at 45 miles per hour, where stopping to talk to someone would be a safety hazard. You may go an entire day without making eye contact with a single human being who was not already scheduled into your digital calendar. The physical layout of our neighborhoods has forced us into a state of chronic artificial isolation, and our bodies are paying a terrible price for it. Medical research consistently shows that people who live in walkable environments report significantly lower rates of anxiety, depression, and loneliness compared to those living in car-dependent suburbs. This is not because city life is inherently easier or less stressful. It is because chronic disconnection from other human beings is one of the strongest predictors of physical and mental health decline in all of medical science. In fact, epidemiological studies have revealed a terrifying statistic. Loneliness at the level now considered normal in suburban America is associated with health outcomes comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. We worry constantly about our diet, our exercise, and our lifestyle choices. We buy organic food and join expensive gyms. Yet, we live in environments that slowly poison our health through isolation. The lawn is green, the street is quiet, and something is slowly going wrong inside the people who live there. We have traded community for privacy, and we have mistaken isolation for safety. The suburban model promised us the perfect balance, our own private kingdom with a green yard, free from the noise and chaos of the city. But in maximizing our private space, we completely destroyed our public space. The front porch, which once served as a bridge between the private home and the public street, was pushed to the back of the house. turning into a private deck fenced off from the neighbors. The sidewalk, once a place of shared community life, became a decorative strip of concrete that lead to nowhere. Even our children have been deeply affected by this spatial design. In a walkable neighborhood, a child has independent mobility. They can walk to school, play at a local park, or visit a friend down the street without needing a parent to chauffeur them. But in the modern car-dependent suburb, children are effectively stranded. They are trapped in their homes, reliant entirely on their parents to drive them anywhere. This lack of independence not only increases the burden on parents, but it deprives children of the natural, unstructured social play that is vital for their development. The tragedy of this system is that it was not inevitable. It was a choice. It was a choice driven by zoning laws that made it illegal to build anything other than single-family homes across vast stretches of land. It was a choice to build cities for cars instead of people. But there is a growing movement of people who are realizing that we cannot continue to live like this. Organizations like Strong Towns are advocating for a return to common-sense development. The idea is simple. We need to build places where the sidewalk actually has a reason to exist. We need to build neighborhoods dense enough that walking to your daily needs is a realistic option, and we must mix residential, commercial, and social uses on the same street. This is not a radical, futuristic concept. It is simply the way humans built cities for 5,000 years before we decided to reorganize our entire civilization around a product that car companies were selling. It is about bringing back the corner store, the local cafe, the neighborhood pub, and the walkable school. It is about creating places where you can exist in public without being forced to spend money or drive a vehicle. Some cities are already beginning the difficult work of reversing course. They are reforming archaic zoning laws, removing urban highways that severed neighborhoods, and investing in public transit that makes car ownership a choice rather than a mandatory requirement for survival. They are proving that when you design streets for people, people will return to them. But the resistance to this change is incredibly strong. For generations, the single-family home with a two-car garage has been the ultimate symbol of success, prosperity, and family safety. Telling people that this layout is actually harming their health and bankrupting their local governments feels like a personal attack. Yet, we can no longer ignore the cracks in the pavement or the quiet desperation in our homes. The suburban experiment has failed to deliver the happiness it promised. It has left us financially stretched, physically inactive, and deeply, profoundly lonely. Tonight, when you look out your window at your quiet, empty street, ask yourself if this is really the freedom you wanted. Try to remember the last time you ran into a neighbor by accident or walked to a local shop just to see a friendly face. Our neighborhoods are making us lonely, but they do not have to stay this way. We built this system, and we have the power to build something better. If this made you look at your own street differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, because next week, we are going to look at another system that we take for granted, but is quietly shaping our lives in ways we never realized.